There's something about the freedom of open water that takes away some of the structure of a pool swim. As lovely as this is, you still need to make the most of the limited training time you have available. It's time to head to the lake with a plan. Let's start with your purpose. I imagine you're going to say things like simulating a race, gaining confidence in the open water, learning to sight, or just testing out your wetsuit. There are endless reasons why someone would go to open water swim. So why is it then that many people, myself included, head to an open water swim, squeeze into their wetsuit, and then just start swimming aimlessly? You need to know your why you're going to do that open water swim session. Before we go on, remember you can support the channel by hitting that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. I'm going to leave it up to you as to what your reason is for your open water swim session, but I'm going to take you through some of the options today and how to optimize your swim according to what your goals are. If you're new to open water or have an event coming up in the open water, you need to make sure you're confident swimming in open water. The mental aspect of swimming outdoors in nature is often the hardest aspect to overcome. And there are many ways you can improve your confidence in the water. You want to start by heading into the open water in a good headspace. If you can, take a friend or someone who's comfortable and confident in open water with you so that they can support you through those first few swims. And then head in there and don't worry about speed or distance. Just concentrate on getting relaxed out in the open water. You don't need a session plan, you just need to go in there with the aim of getting comfortable in the water. So start slowly, swim a little bit, relax, get confident again, and then swim a little bit more. If you can have your friend there, make sure that you can swim on their feet or swim next to them, and make sure that they're not swimming away from you or getting too far from you, because having someone near you can definitely help you stay relaxed and at ease. As you go through this, you can gradually increase your speed and your distance, and pretty soon you'll be swimming significant distances at significant speeds, maybe even on your own, and you'll be comfortable in the open water. Wherever you live, open water is going to feel drastically different, and most of the time it's going to require a wetsuit. If you're just getting back into your wetsuit after a whole winter of pool training, or you've just never worn a wetsuit before, take some time getting used to the wetsuit. Make sure you've got it fitting correctly and also you've put it on correctly, and then take some time getting used to the different feel of swimming in a wetsuit versus swimming without a wetsuit. If it is really cold where you are doing your open water swimming, keep the first few sessions nice and short, and remember to do a decent dry land warm up beforehand to get your muscles and body nice and warm and ready to swim, because you don't want to do that warm up in the water of swimming easily. You want to get in and just get going. You need to be sensible about your targets and expectations here. If you have to keep your session short, you're obviously not going to get too much out of it physically. But remember, you are getting a big benefit out of the acclimatization and also getting that feel for your wetsuit and being in the open water for the longer sessions that are going to come in the future. It's also worth noting at this point that sometimes your races happen in really cold situations and you want to acclimatize to that. But you don't necessarily have to use exactly the same equipment in training that you're going to use on the race day. You can use a thermal vest, you can use booties, or even gloves if you're training in really cold water. The idea is to spend some time in that cold water, acclimatizing, but also getting some swim training in. And remember, on race day, your adrenaline will be pumping, your pace will be a little bit higher, and you won't feel the cold as much as you do in training, so you can strip away some of those layers. On to the actual skills and how to incorporate them into your open water swim session. If you swim in the same open water venue regularly, it's easy to get kind of lazy with your sighting. So try to mix it up a little bit. Try to use landmarks instead of the buoys to sight. It's also a good idea to try your open water swimming with your eyes closed under the water. This is a good simulation for when that water you're swimming in is really murky and you can't see anything except when you're sighting. Don't make this the entire focus of your whole session, but try to make it the main goal for a few of the sets at least. And remember, you need to practice sighting at all different paces, including, and importantly, race pace. So make sure you're doing some sighting practice when you are swimming at race pace. If your race is looming and you've done all the training, your fitness is up there and you're comfortable in the open water, it's time to practice some of the more finer skills, such as changing pace, swimming around buoys, and the entry and exit on race day. For changing pace, try swim 30 strokes really hard at race pace or a bit above race pace, straight into 30 strokes steady to try and settle into a rhythm like you will on race day, and then 30 strokes recovery before doing it again. And if you're lucky and you can simulate your race entry and exit, you've got something that is similar to what your race is going to be, then practice the entry and exit on its own. This doesn't need to be just once when you enter your session and just once when you exit. You can do multiple entries and exits where you enter like you will on race day, swim 50 meters, and then turn around and exit like you will on race day, and do that a few times till you're confident. Also, even better, bring a few friends with you so you know what it feels like starting and exiting with other people around. If you do manage to get your friends to come with you for that open water swim, hopefully one or two of them is at least the same level as you or even slightly better swimmer than you, and you can practice a very important skill, which is drafting in the open water. Try to get them to swim just in front of you, arrange this beforehand, and then try and sit on their feet for as long as you can, or alternate turns sitting on feet and them sitting on your feet. It is a very good skill to practice, and it's definitely something that you want to make sure you've optimized for race day. You can, of course, do this even at really slow speeds, but obviously if you're closer to race pace, learning how to do it at that pace is a lot more beneficial come race day. The most common reason for swimming in open water is, just like pool swimming, to get fitter and faster. And to do this, you need a solid session plan. But of course, you don't have specific distances, so we can't give you a specific set with specific times for each distance. But we can give you some ideas of what you can focus on to get a solid swim session out in the open water. Fartlek. After a 10-minute swimming warm-up, swim for another 10 minutes as 30 strokes hard, 30 strokes easy. Take a 2-minute rest and repeat. Alternatively, if you've got even-spaced buoys, then you can use these to dictate that change in pace. Race pace. After the warm-up, swim 5 by 6 minutes at your estimated race pace effort with a 1-minute rest. Endurance. It's okay to swim long and steady, just not all the time. You can do a continuous swim for confidence, but ideally still add in a warm-up lap and a warm down with the main set in the middle to give some structure. Build. If you have a loop or a set length or distance, try to build the pace throughout so that you finish the last 200 meters really strong. Repeat this depending on how long the lap is. Technique. It's not as easy in open water, but don't neglect technique. You're unlikely to do a full session based on technique, but after a warm-up, say before your endurance swim, include some drills that are specific to your strokes needs. All this talk of optimizing your open water, your skills, your drills, your fitness, don't forget to enjoy it. You can just go and do open water and just have a relaxed session out in nature, in the fresh air, and enjoy your swim. That is, after all, why you're doing it in the first place. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and happy swimming.